Hello, my name is Jessica Vaughn, and I am a mathematics teacher at Marietta High School. I am also a proud graduate of Marietta High School. My email address can be seen on the screen there. Please feel free to email me with any questions or concerns at any point. I teach two IB math courses. One of them is called IB Analysis and Approaches, and the other is called IB Applications and Interpretations. The names are confusing. I confuse them myself frequently. The IB Analysis and Approaches is the former IB Math SL Year 2. We also called that course IB Calculus in the past. It is a continuation of IB Analysis Year 1, which students had last year. And I focus primarily on the calculus content and also review the Year 1 material. The structure for the two courses is the same, but the IB Applications and Interpretations has some slightly different content. IB Applications is replacing the old IB Math Studies, if you're familiar with that course. It's more of a survey course where we do algebra, geometry, trig, statistics and probability, and also calculus at the end of the school year. My Schoology pages all look very similar. I have the Zoom link for all of our virtual meetings at the top of every page, along with my schedule, so students know when they can join me. That Zoom room is basically open all day, Monday through Thursday. I have office hours from 7:30 to 8:30, and then again in the afternoons from 2 to 4:30. Feel free to pop in and join me for tutoring or any kind of questions you may have at those times. On Friday, I also have office hours by appointment. If you need to meet with me, happy to schedule a time. But we also have IB advisements on Fridays at 10. So within my course structure, I design my courses by weeks, and I share all the information with students that they will need for an entire week at a time. The folders are dated and also labeled with topics so that they can go back and find things that they might need. Within each of those weekly folders, students will see an agenda for all the items that I'm including for the week. Some of those are things that they're required to do during class. Some of those are items that they're required to do outside of class and submit to me. And then some of it is additional extra practice. At the end of each agenda, I have the due date for the week. And typically for me, assignments are due on Mondays and Tuesdays. Mondays for A-days, I like to have everything turned in by Monday so we can start the week fresh and they can get the new week's agenda. That's it. Tuesday is for B-days. Every week I ask students to do a weekly check-in. This is a super simple, short, it's called a quiz on Schoology, but it's not a quiz. It's just a way for students to provide some information for me. It's 2 questions every week. If they're the same, the first one is whether or not they understand what's expected of them for the week. And the second question is an open-ended question for students to provide any feedback that I need to know. If there's anything I can do to help them be successful, if there's any comments or concerns they have, or anything that I need to be made aware of to help them be successful for the week. So I encourage students to do that early in the week so that I can make adjustments if necessary. Every week I also give what's called IB review problems. This would typically be like a warm-up problem if we were in an in-person setting, but I think it's important that students are constantly reviewing old content. So every week I'm assigning 3 past IB problems from former exams and ask them to turn them in by the beginning of the next week. These are just review content, so they may or may not pertain to what we're doing during our live sessions, but it's a good way to keep students familiar with content that they will be assessed on in May. I also have weekly assignments and weekly optional assignments linked in those pages, and the directions and all resources are posted in that same folder. So the 2 courses, again, are very similar in the structure. The big difference is the content. So most of what I'm saying about analysis is going to apply for applications as well, and I will point out the differences on the next slide. But for both courses, we're doing a 50-50 grade this year, the 50% formative and 50% summative. The formative category is going to include homework, quizzes, classwork, daily grades, anything where students have the opportunity to improve. Formative grades can be replaced by summative grades if they are showing improvement. So the formative category is a place for students to be able to make mistakes and be able to improve on those mistakes and increase their grade. The summative category is going to be your typical tests. And we're trying to test every few weeks so that we have time to get all of the content assessed throughout the semester. The couple of resources that I think are super important for student success. There are 2 free websites that I use frequently, Khan Academy and Delta Math. I have asked students to create accounts on both of those platforms, and I share assignments there, and I also link them back into the weekly folders on Schoology. Most of what I put on Khan Academy and Delta Math, I provide as optional assignments. I ask students to try some problems, and if they're going well, then they can quit. The good thing about the Khan Academy and the Delta Math is students get instant feedback. They know if they're making mistakes or if they got their questions correct. So I love that there's instant gratification, instant feedback, and students can kind of self-pace themselves, and they can realize if they do need more assistance. It's super important that students have access to a graphing calculator. In class, we use TI-84. If you do not have access to a TI-84 at home, I would encourage you to use the free website desmos.com, or there's an app for Desmos as well. It does most of the same stuff. That's just going to be a different entry point. Definitely have paper and pencil at all live sessions. I always say you can't learn math without doing math. So students need to be writing and recording and practicing and calculating. Always, they should always be writing when they're practicing math. And then definitely just practice, practice, practice. I think it's super important that students practice the mathematics. They can watch me do it all day long and feel like they're following along, but when it comes time for them to do it on themselves, they need to be able to perform. So I always want them practicing and checking their work. Important details about both of the IB math courses. There is an IB exam in May. It's currently scheduled for May 6th and May 7th, and I do not foresee that changing this year. So I'll definitely keep you posted if something were to happen to that, but I am planning for an IB math exam on May 6th and May 7th. For the analysis course, and this is specific to analysis only, there is an internal assessment, but it was completed last year at the end of year 1. Students should have turned in a math exploration last May 2020. And I will be submitting it to IB at the end of this year to partner with the IB exams they're going to take in May. So the IA, the internal assessment, counts for 20% of a student's overall math score. And then the exam will be 80% of their math score. And then there will be a mock exam. It's typically in the spring. We will see what the spring looks like, and details for that will be announced when they are known. But at this point, just be aware that there will be some form of IB exam, a mock IB exam. The difference between this course and the application course is that this course focuses primarily on the calculus content. I try to closely follow the AP Calculus AB curriculum as well. And I also review what was taught in year 1 and previous courses. But we spend most of our current course teaching the calculus content. So my students should be prepared to go into a Calc 2 course in college. This is the slide for applications. Notice everything on the left is the same because I run my classes the same way. I use the same resources. Just like with analysis in the applications course, there is an IB math exam, and it is also scheduled for the same time, May 6th and May 7th. Rather than focusing solely on calculus, this course is more of a survey course, and it covers content from algebra, geometry, trig, statistics, and also calculus at the end of the year. A lot of the content students have seen in this course in their algebra, geometry, algebra 2 courses, but we get to dig deeper, and then as the title implies, we get to apply the math that they have learned into some real world settings. The internal assessment for the applications course will be completed this year. The tentative timeline will be to begin that process in October and submit their final math exploration in early March of 2021. Details will be shared as they're finalized. I'm still making some changes since we are in a virtual format, but the IA for math applications is a math exploration, and students get to choose their own topic and explore the topic mathematically and present their findings. It is a pretty detailed paper to explore mathematics in a setting that interests them, and I have divided it into very manageable chunks. So if they follow the process and stick to the schedule that I provide students, it's a very doable process. But that again will be a project that we work on from October through March. If there's some slight changes with due dates, I will be very clear with students on that. And just like with the analysis course, the application students are expected to do a mock exam. Usually it's in April. We'll see what the spring looks like. I appreciate you tuning in and hearing about the IB math courses that I teach. I would love to get some information from you. So if you have a child in one of my classes, I would really appreciate you entering your information using the QR code shown on the screen at this point. It should take you to a Google form where you can leave me some information. As always, if you need me, please reach out. Email is definitely the fastest way to reach me, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have. Thanks so much.